Now, what about the term Tadabbur? Now, oftentimes you hear people say, brothers, let's get together, like for example, and ponder over the verses of the Quran, and let's contemplate and like deeply think about them. When they're saying things like this, they are referring to at-tadabbur. Now, at-tadabbur comes from dal, ba, ra, which denotes, the root denotes the ending of something. So when you say dubur salah, what do you mean? The end of the prayer, right? After you do assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, rahmatullah, right? And then that is then the dubur, you've entered the dubur of the salah. Now, also the word tadabbur is on the form of what? Tafa'ul, which means that whenever someone does the action of tadabbur, there must be some hard work in that action, right? It requires hard work. So generally, a tadabbur is translated as like pondering over, and it usually results in istinbat, like getting benefits. Usually after you contemplate on something, ponder over a verse, for example, you might be able to get benefits from it, rulings from it, or sometimes it helps in deciding between a correct tafsir, a correct opinion in tafsir versus another opinion, or the more correct opinion. And we have to know that before we ponder over something, we must know the meaning at least a good level of what we're trying to ponder over. Like for example, now, if you don't know Chinese, and then I write like a line of poetry in Chinese, and then I give it to you, and I say ponder over the meanings of this line of poetry, what would you do? Would you try to ponder? Would you go, oh, the meanings of this poetry are so good, and you have no idea what it's saying? So similarly, when someone goes to the verses of the Quran, they must understand that verse to a good level before they can start trying to ponder. Because if they don't understand the verse properly, and that is the case many times, then when they ponder over it, they're pondering, then anything that will result upon that pondering would be what? False, because you started pondering over something that you didn't understand correctly or didn't understand at all. So how can you come with something from something you like a benefit from it, right? So that being said, like if I were to give an example, let's say the example of the ayah which I previously stated, where Luqman alayhi salam gives admonishes his son and says to him that inna shirka, indeed shirk, is la dhulmun azim, is a great oppression. Now, for example, I'm like, if I think to myself, how is shirk an oppression? And then I think and I ponder. Of course, I'm giving an example. Like the person who's pondering, he's thinking, he's using his mind. Actively, you must use your mind. Then he comes to a conclusion. Oh, okay, because the right of Allah upon us is that we do not associate with Him anyone, with Allah anyone or anything. We don't associate any partners with Allah. And then if I associate with Allah, if I do shirk, I have, in that sense, what have I done? I have transgressed the right of Allah upon us, right? Which in of itself is dhulm. So I came to this conclusion when thinking of the ayah. Now, of course, this was I thought of this beforehand. It's not something I came up with, but I want to give a sort of an example of what tadabbur might look like. Barakallahu feekum.